Hey, welcome back, and welcome to those of you who are brand new. Today, we are talking with one of my favorite people in the entire world. Check him out. He looks gorgeous. The one and only John Dargy. We're going to talk about cameras. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff in this home studio series. So make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Ring that bell notification, that button, because you're going to want to check out this entire series. And it's going to be a lengthy series, so definitely stay tuned for that. So enough of my rambling. Welcome, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing outstanding, Molly. I am so excited to be here and to talk with you about this topic. This is something that I adore. And I've been waiting all year for this. I'm so excited to be talking about this.
Oh, I love it. And I definitely love what you're putting out there into the world. If you guys don't know, John Dargy is the pro when it comes to looking damn good and grabbing attention in your meetings, in your sales calls, all of that stuff, because he focuses on using the right technology to get you and your message across to your people. And clearly, look, he looks amazing. He's like the king of lava lamps in the background here. So I need to know, how did this inspire you? Like, how did you get on this journey? Like, super quick, so people know what we're talking about today.
Yeah, sure. So like so many other people, right? I kind of ended up in the work from home situation where I was there and I kind of noticed that like something was lost, right? Like I had my laptop like everybody else and I was talking with people all day, but there was so many things. There was like when more than one person talked at the same time, all of a sudden everything got awkward. And like the way I looked and how things kind of got communicated, there was this wall of a new technology that we just looked at. And I said, you know what? We got to find a way to hack through this. We got to find a way to make it way more effective in for when we're reaching out to people through the web, which is, I don't know, what we do all the time basically now. Like when we start doing that, we're doing that in a way that just maximizes the medium that we have here and tries to connect and build trust and ideally to connection and to make those experiences more engaging than what they were when I started. So that was where I started, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and now I feel like we've got to a point where, hey, yeah, there's definitely something to this, and we're seeing results with other people, and like I think once you see it, you really know. Like that's all I can say.
Truly, it's when you upgrade your studio, when you create, whether it's a mobile studio, it's your desk or your office or whatever, when you really tune into your studio, you have it set up right for you and your business and your environment.
Mhm.
Everything changes because now you can just show up to your studio, press record, and go. You can just show up to your studio, press live, and just go. And you're not thinking about, oh, is the camera right? Or what's this? What's that? Is it all set up properly? Set it up once and it's beautiful and you're going to look totally amazing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that is the best part of kind of thinking about it ahead of time and setting it up and making sure you have that right equipment. That's I call it set design. It's your home
Yeah.
office, but it's really a set design, and you've really done something that makes now warning can be addictive, right? So once you kind of get there and you feel like you said you're done, and well, yes, but you're going to go, oh, what about this? And what about that? Because you're going to see that those little touches, those little things are going to put you out in front of your customers and out in front of your competition. And those little touches, as you start to level up and get to it, is going to differentiate you and make your brand stand out in a world of, all day meetings with Zoom and everything else. It's just, it can be addictive, friends, just so we're clear.
So in today's video, we're going to talk about cameras specifically. We're taking this whole series from the basic level. We want to give you an options, not excuses experience into creating the home studio of your dream. So in this video, we're going to talk about cameras. We're going to talk about camera angles. We're going to talk about becoming super powerful simply from the cameras and the devices we have at our fingertips already. We are not talking about spending tens of thousands of dollars on fancy professional cameras. We are not going to tell you to go out there and buy the latest gear. That's another series unto itself. Today is all about, or this entire week is all about starting from where you are right now.
100%.
Your environment, your studio, where you are right now. So without further ado, roll that intro and let's get into it. Welcome back. So we are talking to the one and only John Dargy about creating the best home studio for you with what you have. So John and I were talking earlier off camera about spending lots of money on really fancy cameras, which is something that we like to do. That's part of our addiction in the home studio world. But you don't need to start there. What kinds of camera advice do you have for people right now who want to watch this video and then start having a really great home studio by the end of the weekend? What do you suggest, John?
Yeah, so right on the money, Molly. Yes, big fancy cameras, everything else. It doesn't matter if you don't really have a fundamental understanding of what those things actually communicate through the system, right? So if like there's an entire field of study in Hollywood, which by the way, I adore. It's called cinematography, right? And there's a visual language that goes with that, right? So camera angles have a meaning. For example, if you're looking, you put the camera up where you're looking down, you kind of have this low shot. Next time you watch a movie, watch for that. Because what you're going to see is they're trying to tell you visually that person may be a little bit small, weak, vulnerable. That's the language. That's the visual language. And so, and kind of the opposite happens. Like you're going, kind of looking up and you're kind of, the person looks a little more powerful and big. Yeah. But sometimes in meetings, you're kind of looking up, people's noses. So I don't necessarily recommend going too crazy on that.
It's like thinking about the camera as being the eyeballs of your viewer. So
100%.
If we're looking at that power pose where you have your camera lower down and you the subject are higher up, that's like in real life when an adult is talking to a small child. They're looking up. It gives that sense of power, just like the opposite does when you have your camera way above you and you're down below. It minimizes you. So the easiest step I want to give you guys is to think about your camera as the eyeballs of your viewers. Are you sitting down and having a conversation? Are you trying to impose power in either way? Just think about it that way.
Exactly, Molly. Exactly. That's 100%. That's a great analogy. Like that's the way to think about it. And so when we're talking about using what you have the most effectively in a business conversation, you've ever heard a term, I'm looking you eye to eye? Looking you eye to eye, having the camera looking right at that person is kind of the language of business, right? So if you're looking to make a connection with somebody and kind of keep them on your level, that's where you want to have the camera, right where you're looking dead serious. Yeah, it doesn't matter what they're doing, right? Like, I mean, they could do all the things we just talked about, but if you're doing that, then you're projecting to that person, hey, you're on my level. We're going to do business. Let's understand each other. And it's all without saying a word. Like that's just using your camera very effectively.
I dig it.
Yeah. So there's that.
So let's talk about cameras as well, because we don't want to spend thousands of dollars. We don't want to buy all the new stuff, although we will in a later series. Make sure you're subscribed because we will talk about that. But right now, no excuses. Here's my biggest tip for you guys. Old phones. I'm sure you're like me and you have them laying around. Current cell phone, I'm sure it has a really great camera. Use it. Use it as your first camera if you need to. If you don't have any other of these fancy things around, just use what you already carry around in your pocket.
Just so one little tip on that one too. So many of you will be tempted to go into selfie mode and be able to see yourself and see what you look like. The camera on that side of that, the cameras facing you are about 50% the quality of the cameras on the other side. So make sure you flip it around and use the cameras on the outside, because that's going to give you the maximum quality of the device you already have.
Oh, that's such a good point, because we do like to look at ourselves, and there are ways that we can show you how to have your old cell phone, flip that camera around so you're using the best quality and still be able to see yourself in your monitor. That's a super simple one cable thing that you can do. And if you're interested, definitely put that question down in the comments, and I'm sure I can drag John back for another video. I'm sure we'll be able to do that. But that brings us to today's question of the day. So I want to know from you guys listening right now, what camera are you currently using? Are you using your phone? Are you team cell phone? Are you using a fancier camera? Are you using a camera you found in your old tech drawer? I know I have like a tech wardrobe over on the side of the graveyard of old tech, and I love going through it and trying to find other tools and use them in a different way. So question of the day, let us know down below, what camera are you using? And if you're not using anything right now, like if you're sitting there going, but Molly, this doesn't apply to me, I want to know why it doesn't apply to you. What makes you so special? And if that's the case, we will help you find a solution, because the solution is not that far away. So let us know down in the comments, and let's move on to our third topic for today, which is our environment. We have to talk about our environment. We're going to talk about environment in a few different ways. So John, you kick it off. What do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, so just a reminder, like during the pandemic, it was all bets are off, right? People, like I was talking to executives, like guys and gals who were running but giant corporations, and they would get up and they would be sitting in their pajamas and their kids would be playing in the background, and they'd be like, I don't care, man, this is what we're doing. Yep. We're kind of past that a little bit. That time has done a little bit. And, you know, it's still acceptable. You see it all the time. But if you're really looking to level up and kind of create a presence of professionalism and just being seen as seen, you want to be cognizant of the area that you're in, right? And so like if there's like, you know, a basket of dirty laundry or like whatever, like just think about that and kind of look at where you're framing, right? Like there it is, right? Like, so Molly's done a great job of saying, focus on me. I'm here to tell you some things. I'm here to share some value with you, and you're focused on her, right? This is what we're talking about. And even if you don't have any sort of like really crazy equipment, there's a lot of things that in your environment, like say a window or some other things that you can say, okay, I have a window. It gives me this great time. Like maybe I need to do a little bit to kind of make sure it doesn't blow out my camera, right? That happens. You see that all the time. But I can do a little something to kind of make it look nice and soft and pretty. And then what's behind me is, you know, just clean and it kind of it projects professionalism. Those are the tips for, you know, with a camera angle and the lighting that you can take advantage of, and just kind of being aware of the space that you have will take you from, you know, dare I say it, like the Zoom slob to this person really communicates something. And this is one more story, Molly, because like this is the part, right? Why would you do that? Like you get up, you get cleaned up, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you put on nice clothes, you do all these things when you go into a professional setting. They call it the last mile, you know, in deliveries and logistics. On the camera, don't let all that go to waste, right? Like just take a little time to kind of set it up, take advantage of the area you have, and make sure you have a kind of clean, natural looking background, and you will be better than literally 50% of what I see all the time just because you're playing heads up.
100%. And also, don't use your background and your environment as an excuse to not create your content. Whether you're creating content, which is what I love to talk about, or you're going to meetings, which is what John loves to talk about, no excuses, my friends. So I used to have I'm like terribly messy. I'll just like admit to that. My desk is always messy desk syndrome. But how did I realized that that was being used as an excuse. So instead, I looked for better options. What did I do? I used an old cardboard box. Like, to those of you who watch my channel a lot, all of those videos that has the cool background of all the photos, the black and white photos and stuff. Yeah, I found an old box and I covered it in photos. That's out in my garage. My garage is covered in boxes from Halloween. Like, it's no excuses. Your camera, remember what we talked about at the beginning. Your camera is the eyes of your viewer, and you have the ability to really be really particular about what your audience sees. So if you have a pile of messy laundry over there, fantastic. Let's crop your video so that we're only looking at the good stuff in your background. Let's go sit by a window and turn your camera in a way that sees more of the wall and less of the messy kitchen beside you. I don't know, but stop using your environment as an excuse to not create your content. There are easy ways to get around all of that. Whether you're going outside a little bit, whether you're sitting by a window, or use a green screen. My desk behind here is an absolute mess, but simply pulling up a green screen brings the focus back to me. I'm not worried about people seeing my desk. My people aren't distracted by my messy desk, and we can get back on to talking about our message, which is so important. That's why we're here in the first place, right? I love it, John. Molly. Thank you so much for joining us today. But don't worry, my friends, John's not going anywhere. First, you make sure you're subscribed so that you can see more of the series we're doing with John, because we're not stopping at today's video. You come back tomorrow's video. We're going to get even deeper into the no excuses home studio setup. And most importantly, join us over in the Visibility Hacking Facebook group for Friday Night Live, where John is coming back this week as our expert guest, and he comes on quite often, so there's lots of opportunity to get your questions answered. And maybe, hey, we might if you're interested, friends, we might even redo your home studio. Just saying. Any last words, John?
No, Molly, thank you. This is such a important topic. 87% of all the traffic on the web right now is video. So content, live meetings, live streaming. This is the very basics of being able to plug into it. And I think it's a great message. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.